Because to me, the glory in what I do is the fact that it starts with a blank piece of paper. You look at something like Inglourious Basterds, and that did not, if my mother never met my father, that would not exist in any way, shape, or form.
Quentin, it's not your job to create your vision. It's your job to have a vision.
A good majority of movies that come out, all right, you pretty much know everything you're going to see in the movie by the first 10 or 20 minutes. Now, that's not a story. A story is something that constantly unfolds. The only responsibility I have is to be true to my characters.
And the dialogue just comes out of the character. I don't lead the characters. I let the characters lead me.
Why the need for so much gruesome, graphic violence? Why not let us imagine
Because it's so much fun, Jan. Get it?
It's hard work to go to that blank piece of paper and start from square one. Start from scratch every single solitary time.
I want to make movies that people will watch them and that will make them want to make movies.
You should have this little voice inside of you saying, tell the truth. Tell the truth, tell the truth.
I actually really try to have morality not even be an issue at all right, when it comes to my characters.
I like the idea that you open up the briefcase in Pulp Fiction and I don't tell you what's in there, but it's up to you to figure out what's in there, and now that's your movie.
You make a goddamn kick-ass movie, and you can take it all over the planet Earth.
You can see all kinds of movies, but when a movie really, really does it to me, it's because it's made me feel many different emotions during the course of it. And especially if I can pull off contradictory emotions that can actually work out. And I do believe that I'm the kind of director that I want to play you as an audience. I want to be the conductor, and you're my orchestra. And the sounds that I make you to make and the feelings I get you to feel, and then I stop you from feeling those feelings and I give you something else to feel, and then I stop you from feeling that and make you feel something else yet again. But when I read Hard Times, then I could see what a script could be. It was exciting, it was fun, and it wasn't just the dialogue. And you know, Chaney in that movie doesn't say much, all right? But James Coburn does a lot of talking, all right? But the point being, though, was it wasn't just description. It was prose. Now, not prose like I'm used to in a novel, but it was a prose that was appropriate for a screenplay. He wasn't just giving a blueprint for how a bunch of technicians can make this movie later, like a recipe for a cake that somebody else is going to bake. The prose was written for me, the reader. I was supposed to get caught up into this. I was supposed to be excited about this story. I was supposed to get caught up in this story. And even more importantly, I was supposed to make the movie in my mind. When the script was over and I put it down, I saw it. I saw the movie.
In my movie, there's a real famous scene, and if you've read any reviews on the movie, you probably have heard about it. All right, this torture scene. The scene's about a guy, Mr. Blonde. He's a psychopath who tortures a hostage cop in the course of the movie. It's not like I was just sitting around one day thinking, man, I'm gonna come up with this really bitchin' torture scene that everyone's gonna be freaking out about. It's not about that. The bottom line there is, that is what Mr. Blonde would do when left alone with that guy. Saying you don't like violence in movies is the same thing as saying you don't like slapstick comedy in movies, or you don't like dance sequences in movies. You may not like it, and that's fine. You don't have to like it, all right? But that doesn't mean you shouldn't make it. The only responsibility I have is not to what a couple of knuckleheads might do when they see the movie, which can be proven anyway, all right? The only responsibility I have is to be true to my characters. And if violence or sex or whatever, all right, is part of your palette as an artist, you gotta be allowed to paint.
Quentin, it's not your job to create your vision. It's your job to have a vision. And then it's your job to hire talented individuals, to hire talented artists who understand your vision, and you articulate it to them, and then they take your vision and they create it.
Why do you work?
A writer, you know, you should have this little voice inside of you saying, tell the truth.
Yeah.
Tell the truth, tell the truth.
Yeah.
All right? Reveal a few secrets
And the truth
here.
is your life experience.
Exactly. That's the truth as I know it. To me, all the movies are very personal. All right? When I look at them, and I don't mean like I'm some crook, all right, but the thing about it though is like, you know, this group of friends will look at it and be like, oh, Quinn, I can't believe you talked about that. And this old girlfriend,
because they identify with the experience.
You know, it's like, you should be semi-embarrassed about certain people seeing your movie, I think, when you're finished, if you're working on a personal level.
Or else the work is not authentic.
Well, I mean, I don't want to make that blanket a statement, but I guess for me, yeah. You don't have to know how to make a movie. If you truly love cinema with all your heart and with enough passion, you can't help but make a good movie. You don't have to go to school. You don't have to know a lens, you know, a 40 and a 50 and a fuck all that shit. Crossing the line, none of that shit's important. If you just truly love cinema with enough passion and you really love it, then you can't help but make a good movie.
Why the need for so much gruesome, graphic violence? Why not let us imagine
Because
a little
it's so
of it?
much fun, Jan. Get it?
Oh, really? Okay, I'd like to see you walk down the street and get attacked by some kids who've just seen your movie.
But see, Jan, you're all messed up because you're talking about real life.
Oh,
and I'm
I see.
talking
And kids
about
at
the
12,
movies. You got to
kids
get
at
it straight.
12.
Now, if you want to talk about the movies, we'll talk about the movies.
Okay, and
If you
kids
want
at
to talk
12
about real
can
life,
tell
we'll
the
talk about real
difference.
life.
Kids at 12 can tell the difference. You tell their parents that, Quentin.
I saw movies when I was a kid, all right? I saw all the movies that I'm basing my movies on are the movies I saw as a kid, and yes, kids go to a movie theater, they can tell the difference. Maybe you couldn't when you were a kid, but I could.
You get great performances from these actors. Yeah. Why is that, you think?
Well,
because it really stands out in a lot of your movies, obviously.
Well, you know, it kind of, I think it's a three-pronged thing, you know. I write good characters. I write interesting characters. Then I cast them well. And but part of casting well is usually, unless I'm writing it for somebody in particular, and sometimes that works out and sometimes that doesn't. It's about the character first. It's not the actor first. I don't have an obligation to give a groovy actor a role. I have an obligation to find the best person to play my character. They're my characters. They came from deep in my DNA, and I want them to have the perfect person to play them. I'm not writing theater where, you know, everybody for the next 20 years gets a crack at it. This is it.
We not only see she is a bride, but she's 8 months pregnant. Interior, wedding chapel, day, overhead shot. We hear step, 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 till a man we haven't seen yet enters the shot, right next to the fallen bride. He lowers down next to her on his haunches, holding a white handkerchief with the name Bill sewn in the corner, and begins tenderly wiping away the blood from the young bride's face. While still in her close-up, the bride speaks for the first time in the picture. She looks up at the man standing over her and says, "Bill, it's your baby." A beat after she says the word baby, we hear a bang, and the bride receives a bullet in the side of her head. Cut to black screen. The fourth film by Quentin Tarantino. I guess when it comes to the actual writing of the piece, where it really becomes what it's going to become, is it's about character. And the dialogue just comes out of the character. And I don't lead the characters. I let the characters lead me, both as far as who they are and the conversations and even the scenario itself. I mean, like, for instance, if I've got a character here with this glass and I have every intention of getting him to where that glass is, well, that's a good idea on my part, I think. Yeah. But once I get them going there, they might reject the glass. Right. And they go somewhere else. And they are the ones that know best.
That used to be the thing about America, was the fact that Hollywood, forget America, Hollywood. Hollywood used to, that's what we did better than anybody else in the world. We told a really good story. You know, Europe was where you had character-based films or mood-based films. But America, we told the story. We're the worst at it now, as far as I'm concerned.
At telling a story.
telling a story. We don't tell a story. We tell a situation. Most of the movies that you see nowadays, and I'm not a Hollywood basher because enough good movies come out of the Hollywood system every year to justify its existence, but without any apologies. However, a good majority of movies that come out, all right, you pretty much know everything you're going to see in the movie by the first 10 or 20 minutes. Now, that's not a story. A story is something that constantly unfolds. I'm not talking about like this quick left turn or a quick right turn or a big surprise. I'm talking about it unfolds.
I remember after I came out with Pulp Fiction, so I had 2 movies by that time, some critic said something to the effect of, Tarantino will never be a master of suspense because he's too far in love with minutia. And I actually thought that was a fair enough criticism back then. So now I want to actually do a movie where I actually indulge in suspense, and I go for it. And my method of it, and use that scene and the opening scene of the movie as an example, it's like there's the scene above ground and the scene below ground. And the scene above ground is what's going on and the dialogue and them sitting around this table and talking. Underneath it, it's like the suspense is a rubber band. And I'm just stretching it and stretching it and stretching and see how far it can stretch. Now, normally in a situation when you do a movie, you try to make your scenes as compact as possible so there's not air and you don't wear out your welcome with the audience. But under this method, as long as that rubber band can stretch, the longer the scene can hold, the more suspenseful it is. That scene is more suspenseful at 22 minutes than would be at 8. So you want to just stretch it until the rubber band breaks.
It's not the whole movie isn't about redemption, but redemption does keep working itself into the movie. And most of the characters in the movie are given choices to make, and they make the choices that they make, and they pay the price or the consequences, or they live to tell the tale because of those choices. And we actually see it happen all 3 different times in the movie. And but it's funny though, if you just take that for what it is, if you just look at the case of John Travolta and Sam Jackson, it would suggest, well, okay, Sam Jackson made the good choice, made the right choice, and thus he prospers, and John Travolta pays no attention to it, and thus we know he dies. But you have to think about Bruce Willis's choice that happens in this movie, because he actually makes 2 choices. One, he makes a choice to do a very unhonorable thing. He actually makes the deal with Marcellus Wallace to throw the fight. He doesn't have to. Marcellus doesn't say, throw the fight or you're dead. He makes it for money. And he takes the money and he screws Marcellus with it. But he actually ends up living to tell the tale, right? Because he actually does make a moral choice later when he goes back to save Marcellus.
Running Inglourious Bastards, I started writing during the daytime, where I get up and, it's like, so around 10:30 or 11 o'clock or 11:30, I would sit down and write. And like a normal work day. And I would sit down and I would write until 4, 5, 6, or 7. Somewhere around there, I would stop. And then I have a pool and I keep it heated so it's nice. And I'd go into so if I finished, okay, so either I'm not finished with a sequence or I've just finished a sequence and I got to figure out what to do next. So if I haven't finished a sequence, then I'd hop in my pool and just kind of float around in the warm water and think about everything I've just written and how I can make it better or what else can happen as far as before the scene's over. And then a lot of shit would come to me. Literally, a lot of things would come to me. And then I'd get out and I would make little notes on that, but not do it. And that would be my work for tomorrow. Or if I just finished a scene, all right, I would think, okay, I'd go back over it in my head in the pool and think about it. Now what's the next scene? Okay, now what's next? And then I figure out a few things and make notes, and that's my work for the next day. And that's ended up becoming this really, really enjoyable, really kind of lovely way to write. And I just want the actors to know. Now, the audience doesn't need to know. Like, for instance, Brad Pitt's character, Aldo Rain, has a rope burn.
Exactly.
Around his neck. But I never wanted to explain how it happened.
I desperately wanted to know.
Well, I want you to just figure it out, all right? I mean, it's up to you to supply where that rope burn came from.
mean, I would love to have had a little bit of a conversation that he would have referred to that.
Yeah, if I wanted you to know, I would have told you. I like the idea
but your idea of cinema then is to keep a lot of stuff in. You want mystery in the film itself.
You know, it's like
you want us not to know everything.
Well, I like the idea. I like the idea that if you contemplate why there is a rope burn there, and somebody else contemplates why there is a rope burn there, and somebody else contemplates it, and three different people come up with three different reasons why he got a rope burn. Those are three different movies you all saw, and I like that idea. I like the idea that you open up the briefcase in Pulp Fiction, and I don't tell you what's in there, but it's up to you to figure out what's in there, and now that's your movie, and you'll make that decision somewhere down the line. Now, if I tell you at this table what it is, then you'll throw that away, and I don't want you to throw away. That's your movie. When I'm writing the script, even though I'm thinking about cinematic things and this and that and the other, when I'm putting pen to paper, it's F the movie. It is about the page. It is really seriously about the page. I'm writing literature at this point. My stuff gets published, and it is about it working on the page. I put scenes in the script that I kind of know I'll never film. But because I don't think the movie will need it, but the written script needs it. It clarifies it for the reading. It makes it better for the reading. Yeah. And part of my job is to kind of realize what I don't need as I'm making the movie. Now, once I'm making the movie, then I'm not really thinking about the script that much, and now I'm making the movie. But when it comes time to the writing of it, it really is about the pen and the paper and nothing else. And not only that, I'll add one other thing to that, is, and I need to feel this way I know that I've done a good job, is if I've done the script and I do what I want to do, then I have to question the idea of, you know what, if I don't make this movie, if I just publish this, I'm done. I'm done, and I've got it. I've won. All right? It's mine to F up, right, if I go on. But right now, I'm done. Now, I don't do that. I go and make the movie. But I always consider it. And if I don't feel that way about the script, then I know I haven't done that good of a job.
Yeah, if you got the passion to do it, and you do it, and it doesn't work out. I got 3 years on a 16mm film that ended up becoming nothing but guitar picks, and I was very disappointed when I realized it wasn't any good. But it was my film school. All right, and I actually got away really cheap. When it was all over, I knew how to make a movie. I didn't want to show anybody that, but I had the experience. I had a lot cheaper than I would have gone if I'd gone to film school.
This was my film school. All right, and this was the best film school a person could possibly have. I mean, I actually, instead of going to school and paying a ton of money to be allowed to use some of their crappy equipment, all right, I actually went out and actually tried to make a feature film. I actually really tried to have morality not even be an issue at all right, when it comes to my characters.
No, but it's so interesting. I mean,
you know, I don't want that to have any play whatsoever. That would be me commenting on them.
Right.
That is me sticking my big nose into their lives and then their philosophies. I let them be who they are. And, you know, my just feeling is, you know, I just want the same rights that a novelist has. I mean, we lived through the 80s where every Hollywood movie, everyone had to be likable and everybody had to be understandable, and the test scores were oh, well, we didn't like him, so we got to change every goddamn thing, you know. And I didn't make movies at that time, but I was watching them, and I said, I'm not going to make that crap. And I just want the same freedom that a novelist has. I mean, you can make a novel, you can write a novel about a bastard, but it can be totally interesting.
Do you think it's still possible for an up-and-coming filmmaker to go the route you guys went and still be successful?
Make Reservoir Dogs.
That's a tough.
Actually, no. I'm not even being a smartass. That was a f***ing kick-ass movie. All right. You make a goddamn kick-ass movie, and you can take it all over the f***ing planet Earth. Not America. Not f***ing Los Angeles. Not New York. The planet Earth, and everyone will know it.
But there is a lot more competition than there was when I was, you know, kicking around with El Mariachi. So you got, you know, there's just a lot more to do.
But at the same time, though, yeah, there's a lot more to competition, but also those crappy movies aren't competition if the thing is dynamite.
There you go.
You know, all that shit is, you know, yeah, there's a lot of people out there doing stuff, but if, you know, it's like waves on the beach. All right, you make a piece of nitro that you throw in an audience's lap, you know, people notice.
When you think that you have this one more film to make, is there more weight on that, or you just do your fucking thing?
The weight was really on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Really?
That's kind of my big epic. That's like my big wrap up the career kind of epic, and I think I did it. So I don't know what the next story is going to be. I'm imagining it'll be more epilogue-y. Like, this is the big one, and then whatever I end up doing for that last one, like I said, a bit more of an epilogue, just as you're wrapping up the career.
But you don't have a specific
I have no idea. I have no idea. No, the only thing I can... No, I wanted... I hope to do 2 more books, and, well, I mean, 1 more book, and then do a play, and then we'll see where we are. We'll see if another story has come. I mean, the only one I can imagine where it would be another epic, where I need to outdo everything, is if I did a Kill Bill 3.
Have you thought of that?
I've thought of it.